What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got some major things to discuss here for you guys in this video. Some very scary stuff actually to discuss here as well. So we'll go over it all here in this video. For you guys here. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos as well. It helps to get out our message to more people here, so more people know about this here. Remember, I bring you guys the daily news and everything you guys need to know about here and what's going on here in our country and around the world here on a daily basis. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure to click the subscribe button down below, as it's completely free to do so. Okay, let's jump right in. I got multiple things to go over here for you guys. Okay, first up, very serious thing here. As if the war with in Ukraine and Vladimir Putin threatening the U.S. and the world with nuclear weapons wasn't enough. Now, North Korea and the North Korea president uh, literally warns of all-out nuclear weapons response to threats from the U.S. and allies directly to the United States. And you can see they actually released this picture here. I'll zoom it in here for you guys. This is actually a first time ever where Kim Jong-un, the president of North Korea, actually released a picture of him and his daughter. The first time she's ever been seen. This is how secretive they are about some stuff. It's unbelievable. But North Korea does have nuclear weapons, and you can see the picture of how big that thing is. It's unbelievable. Here's the details of this. North Korea's leader, Kim Jong un, has vowed to respond to nuclear threats with nuclear weapons after the Hermit Kingdom, which is just kind of a nickname for North Korea, fired an intercontinental ballistic missile that has the potential to reach the U.S. mainland. The state media outlet KCNA reported Saturday that Kim attended the launch with his young daughter for the first time. Photos show the pair walking hand in hand at the test site. Little is known about Kim's personal life, as this is the first confirmation of her existence. Yeah. Kim Jong un solemnly declared that if the enemies continue to pose threats, our party and government will resolutely react to nukes with nuclear weapons and to total confrontation with all out confrontation, their state media said. So this is a direct quote from their state media. So, I mean, guys can let me know your thoughts on this. This is a direct quote from North Korea's state media. Yeah. Our party and government will resolutely react to nukes with nuclear weapons. On Friday, North Korea launched a Hwasong-17 missile from the capital that landed in waters west of northern Japanese island of Hokkaido. So North Korea continues to fire these missiles near Japan, and it's only a matter of time till one of these hits, even if by accident. This missile, according to the Japanese defense minister, is believed to have flown about 620 miles at a high trajectory and reached a maximum altitude of 3,728 miles. Depending on the weight of the warhead it carried, they estimated that the missile could travel more than 9,000 miles. In which case, this is a quote, all of the U.S. mainland would be included in its range. That's what they said. In response to this missile launch, the U.S. B-1B bombers took part in separate joint exercises with South Korean and Japanese warplanes. So, this is what is going on here right now in the world, guys. This was North Korea's second major weapons test this month, which Kim said shows that he has a weapon capable of confronting US led military threats and can actually reach the US mainland. You can also see here that the White House condemned North Korea's launch of this ICBM with potential to reach the continental US. And even Vice President Kamala Harris convened an emergency meeting at the APEC summit in Thailand with leaders from Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. Here is what Vice President Kamala Harris had to say about this. Take a listen.
I have asked this group of allies and partners to come together to join us in condemning North Korea's long-range ballistic missile launch this morning. I've also asked them to join so that we, as allies and partners, can consult on next steps. This conduct by North Korea most recently is a brazen violation of multiple UN security resolutions. It destabilizes security in the region and unnecessarily raises tensions. We strongly condemn these actions, and we again call for North Korea to stop further unlawful destabilizing acts. On behalf of the United States, I reaffirm our ironclad commitment to our Indo-Pacific alliances.
Yeah, so you can let me know your thoughts here on this. North Korea was one of the very few countries to actually vote along with Russia when there was UN votes on whether to condemn Russia for invading Ukraine, and also on the last vote the United Nations had on whether the elections that Russia had in Ukraine to annex the territory were legal or not. There was only 5 countries out of the whole world that voted for whether Russia was these elections were legal or not, and there was like, let me see here, yeah, the United Nations passed a resolution, and out of the whole world, 143 member states or countries voted and said that the Russia elections in Ukraine to annex about 15% or more of the country were illegal and were not legit. Only 5 countries, including Russia, and 4 other countries voted for it, North Korea being one of them. You can see here People's Republic of Korea, Syria, Nicaragua, Belarus, which is basically a Putin puppet country, so you can see that here, and 35 absentations of countries who basically didn't vote or didn't want to be involved with it. China is one of them. So yeah. Also, you can see here, Ukraine United Nations General Assembly demands Russia reverse course on the attempted illegal annexation. Of course, Russia hasn't done that. I did read an interesting thing here the other day. Look at this headline here. It's costing peanuts in relative comparison for the U.S. to actually defeat Russia, and the amount of lives that the U.S. is costing zero, basically, to defeat Russia. Most people, I have never thought about this way. Most people, are complaining that the U.S. is, helping fund this war. But take a listen to this. The cost benefit analysis of U.S. support for Ukraine is incontrovertible. It's producing wins at almost every level. Former President Trump and others in the U.S., including some Democrats and Republicans, have criticized continued support for Ukraine in its war with Russia. Remember, though, that Republicans and Democrats in Congress had to approve all the money that went to Ukraine. Okay? They had to vote on it in Congress. Altogether, the Biden administration received congressional approval for $40 billion in aid for Ukraine for 2022 and has requested an additional $37 billion for 2022. More than half of this has been earmarked for defense. These sums pale in insignificance when set against the total U.S. defense budget of $715 billion for 2022. And that's what we spend every single year on U.S. defense. Every year. In fact, it goes up every year. So for 2023, it will be even more. The assistance represents only 5% of the total U.S. defense spending. But Russia is a primary adversary of the US, a top tier rival not too far behind China. In fact, they were, before this war started, considered to have the number three military in the world, behind China and US being the number one. Its number one strategic challenger, and in cold geopolitical terms, this war provides a prime opportunity for the US to erode and degrade Russia's conventional defense capability with no boots on the ground and little risk to US lives. The Ukrainian forces have already killed or wounded upwards of 100,000 Russian troops, half of its original fighting forces. There have been, honestly, at least 8,000 confirmed losses of armored vehicles, including thousands of tanks, thousands of APCs, armored pieces, hundreds of fixed and rotary wing aircraft, and the US is only spending 5% of its defense budget to destroy nearly half of Russia's conventional military capability. Seems like an absolutely incredible investment. If we divide out the US defense budget to the threats it faces, Russia would perhaps be of the order of 100 billion to 150 billion in spend to threat. So spending 40 billion a year erodes a threat of 150 billion a year, 2 to 3 times return. The US military might reasonably wish Russia to continue deploying military forces for Ukraine to destroy. Now, granted, of course, Putin did this on his own. Putin's the one that put 100,000 150,000 troops on the border and then invaded Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine didn't want this to happen. Um, but I mean, if you think about this, Putin's not stopping. You can't just, Ukraine doesn't just want to be taken over. I mean, they're the ones fighting back. And the only reason that all the other countries haven't actually put boots on the ground is because, well, Russia has nuclear weapons. So they're basically providing Ukraine with the weapons to defend themselves, which is where the vast majority of the money goes to. So, and if anything, it's dramatically weakening Russia, who's not our friend. They literally have threatened us with nuclear weapons. And look at what it's done to their army. It's completely decimated their army. I mean, they're literally getting desperate. They're calling in, like, incarcerated people, and I mean, they're retreating back so far that, like, I mean, Putin's now having to I mean, they lost, like, the only major capital city that they had left. Um I mean, it's getting so bad that he's not even announcing the retreats anymore. He's having other people do it for him. So, and to think about this, not no American lives have been lost. We don't have any boots on the ground there. I mean, if you think about, like, Iraq and, us being over there for that 20-year war, I mean, that was terrible because US lives were there. And you think about Vietnam, terrible. World War II, World War One, terrible. And really, Russia, North Korea, we don't want to be involved with China. They have 3 or 4 times the population than us. So if anything, Russia being one of our worst, like, people that, like, could start a war against us. Of course, they have 6,000 nukes. We have 6,000 nukes. I don't know, somewhere around there, right? So of course, nobody wants a nuclear war. That'd be the worst thing to ever happen. So if you hopefully nuclear wars don't happen. So the next step down there is just, regular warfare. This is like dramatically weaken their entire army and the amount of personnel they have and the tanks that they have and the airfare that they have and everything that they have. And this is their own doing. I mean, they moved in on a country and the entire world didn't support it. And the US is not the only country supporting it. I mean, the entire European Union, basically almost all of Europe, is supporting Ukraine as well. I mean, you guys can let me know your thoughts here. It was that, or we just let Russia continue to take over country after country after country. I mean, they've already taken over Crimea. They've already let it leak by accident twice that they were then going to go and take over another country called Moldova. So, I mean, that's exactly what Hitler did. He took over one country and then the next and the next and the next until the US got basically drug into the war. So, um, yeah, I mean, if you're really looking at it from that point of view, they have significantly weakened Russia's army, and we haven't had to put any American lives at risks. And if you're looking at it from the Ukrainian point of view, we've basically given them what they need to defend themselves. It really doesn't sound bad to us at all, bad to anybody at all. I mean, what's the other choice? Just let them get decimated or let them defend themselves? I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. To me, it's a no-brainer. And of course, I get that we're going to get some people in the comment section that say, well, yeah, but Jimmy, we got to take care of our own too. And I get it. You're right. But you got to remember here that we have. We have. Okay. So, like, when we talk about like the $40 billion that they've sent over there that has mostly gone towards defense, it's gone to, weaponry defense. Okay. Um, First of all, remember we've spent $715 billion in defense of our country. We spend that every single year. So you got to remember that, like, that's what they spend on our country every single year, and nobody says anything about that. But you got to remember here in the last 3 years, we've had three stimulus checks. The third stimulus check package alone was 1.9 trillion. 1.9 trillion. This is 40 billion. It's like it's like 1% of the amount just from the third stimulus check package. The first stimulus check package was 2.2 trillion. Then we've had rent assistance alone was 40 billion. We've had rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance. We just had $13 billion added for utility assistance. The student loan forgiveness alone, if it goes through, I know Republicans are challenging it. That's expected to be around 300 billion. So that alone is like multiple times more than the defense money that they're basically giving to Ukraine. And remember, it's not like they're sending bundles of cash over there and like giving stimulus checks to Ukrainians. The vast majority of the money is really it's defense. It's like, weaponry, it's tanks, it's drones, it's air defense. It's not really cash. It's like, okay, we're gonna send you a bunch of tanks. We're gonna send you a bunch of air defense. We're gonna, that's really where the money goes. I mean, there is some other stuff that goes like, like medical supplies, stuff like that. But I mean, you guys can let me know your thoughts here on this. But I thought that was an interesting perspective. And then don't forget that we got North Korea there as well. And it's like, it's interesting because like with North Korea, similar situation could happen. Like, they're shooting missiles right next to Japan. Same thing could happen. What if they actually attack Japan? Like North Korea is threatening us with nukes. If they attack Japan, same thing. We would want to help out Japan, wouldn't we? Or would we want to just let Japan get decimated? Because remember, it's like the enemy of your enemy is our friend. Well, Japan's actually an ally of us now. I know back in World War II they weren't, but it's funny how things change. Same thing with Germany. Germany back then wasn't an ally. Now they're part of NATO. Isn't that crazy? How things can change. Um, but I mean, you can let me know your thoughts here. But it's just like same thing with North Korea. Like, if North Korea attacked another country, we would want to help out that other country because it's better than like us going in direct warfare with North Korea because North Korea's got nukes and it's just like nobody wants to have that happen. But I mean, if we can supply another country with the defense systems to help them out, let's do it. And it's not like we're shorting ourselves on weaponry because it's like the defense contractors here are loving it. They're just going to make more, which really just creates more jobs here in the U.S. and all that good stuff. Those families are happy to have jobs. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. So, and hopefully, none of these countries actually attack us, but I'll let you know about the news as it's coming in here. So make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button, then the bell icon, so you don't miss out. And I'll show you this information right here on the screen, so you know it's true and you know it's real. Also, thanks for liking and sharing these videos. Also, remember we're giving away cash to some of our viewers if you can answer a trivia question directly, and I'll have one for you guys in the next video. You can click here to watch my newest video next, and you can click here to see a date that is very important for low-income Americans with cash benefits and stimulus benefits that you need to know about. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.